This video is going to cover the Americans with Disabilities Act. Keep in mind the Americans with Disabilities Act was passed and signed into law in 1991 and does apply for multifamily residential as well as commercial. Under the residential ADA requirements, which again would apply to multifamily, federally funded housing, or public and common areas, and that private single-family homes usually are exempt unless they're built with public funding. Multifamily buildings built after March 13th, 1991 have to meet the standards. It does apply to leasing offices, clubhouses, or public amenities. Must have accessible routes, continuous barrier-free path from accessible parking and public sidewalks to entrances and common areas, and there must be at least one accessible entrance per building. Common areas and amenities such as pools, mail rooms, laundry facilities, and community rooms must provide accessible entry and use. There must be ramps, lifts, or zero entry options. In covered multifamily, the doorways have to be at least 32 inches clear or greater. There must be reinforced bathroom walls for grab bars. There have to be accessible routes into and through the unit. And then light switches, outlets, thermostats have to be in accessible reach. Under commercial, it covers any places of public accommodation, offices, retail, restaurants, medical offices, etc. There must be accessible routes and parking, a minimum number of accessible parking spaces with signage. There have to be curb cuts, ramps, and barrier-free entry from the public parking and sidewalks. Entrances and doors have to be at least 60% of them must be accessible. And then there has to be at least 32 inches or greater clearance. And then there must be hardware that's operable with one hand without a tight grasping or twisting. There have to be accessible routes between all public areas, including elevators, ramps, or lifts. Has to be a clear turning space for wheelchairs, 60 inches diameter or more. Counters have to be accessible heights, less than or equal to 36 inches for a portion of the counter. The restrooms have to have at least one accessible stall, sink, mirror, dispenser. There has to be proper turning space, grab bars, and clear door swings in the restrooms. For signage and communication, there must be braille and tactile signs for permanent rooms like restrooms and exits. There have to be visible and audible alarms where required. And then any new construction and alterations would also be required to be accessible. Any new builds post-1992 have to be in full compliance. Finally, alterations must bring the altered area up to ADA standards. As always, best of luck in studying, and email me at classes@paulrich.realtor if you have any questions.